Good. Alright, welcome to the video. I'm going to show you how to change tyres like a pro here. If you ever do, we're going to use the front one today, but if you ever take a rear tyre off, put it in the hardest gear on the back, flip it right down, spin your cranks around. I learned this from the time as a mechanic in the Tour de France. And put it in the hardest gear at the back on the small cog, and that means the wheel will just drop out a lot easier. And even the easiest way to do it is turn your bike upside down. Make sure there's no traffic coming, you're in a safe spot, and always pay attention. And get off the road if you're on the road, especially if you're filming. Step in the back of a truck, and then we'll take off the wheel. It's going to pop out a lot easier. So make sure it's in the hardest gear at the back, and it'll just come off a lot easier. Thanks. Let's get. Alright, welcome to a tyre tutorial. Tight tyres, how to get them off. We'll come over here. This is a through axle, so we're going to lean the bike against the this fence here. Now let's see on the side of the road. You want to make sure there's no traffic coming. You got a safe spot. We're in a tennis court here, as we do all our mechanic work at Durianrider's workshop in the local tennis court. Actually, this is my backyard. This is my backyard. We made some good crypto money there, Bitcoin, and this is that's not too tight. So we're going to take off this through axle. And make sure we don't get too much grit on that. So we'll just put it somewhere where there's no sand. It fills in the sand already. I'm going to take off the wheel. When you put your bike down, make sure you put it down very gently. You don't smack it down because you damaged the tip of your carbon fork. We're going to lean this bad boy against the fence so it doesn't get knocked over and damage our rear derailleur. If your bike ever falls over on the right hand side, make sure you don't bend your hanger. So we'll squat down here. We've only got one tyre lever, doing things in the budget here, and we're going to take the air out of this tyre. Hypothetically, it's gone flat. Nick, who's holding the camera, says he's getting some blowouts, some punctures, which you don't want, so we're going to find the cause of that. So we let all the air out. Well, nut's leaving, the nut doesn't want to associate with me. That's how infamously even the little nut wants to get away from me. Let the air out. You ever notice that smell? It smells like mutt. That's actually, if you're in Thailand, you got a rubber tree and you smell that rubber from the tree, it smells like mutt. That's genuine rubber right there. It smells like mutt. Mutt that's been on a bit of a bike ride. Alright, so we're gonna, the secret to getting the tyre off is there's the channel, alright, the deepest part of the rim is the smallest circumference, meaning the smallest part. So you want to squeeze both sides. This is a tubeless rim, so they're really tight. Really tight. So we're going to squeeze that into the channel the whole way around, break the seal, and we're going to force it in there. Alright, there's no swearing in this video, we're making it PG friendly. So any references you have, it's not my problem, it's because you've got a dirty mind, people. So that's in the channel. Now it's going to come off a lot easier. Alright, a lot easier. I'm going to start generally opposite the valve. Doesn't matter too much, but that's just what I do for the OCD, ADD. And then we're going to try and get it off, and that's going to be, this is a tight. This is really tight. We might even need two tyre levers, but we don't have two tyre levers. So ideally we'd have two tyre levers, but we don't. So we're going to have to use some steroid muscle. Thankfully on the D-bowl this month, I'm going to take that tyre off like that. If you didn't have the strength like I've got, 18-inch arms, you have to use tyre levers. But the most important part, jokes aside, is you've got to squeeze in the channel, break the seal on both sides of the tyres, because there's a little hook in there, and you've got to push the tyre bit off that hook. If it's on that hook, it ain't going to come off. You've got to push it off into the channel. This is the channel, this is the hook. It's like a monkey grip, push it in there. Some people these days are making hookless rims for road tyres. I'm like, make sure you've got good dental insurance. I don't rate that. So we're going to take the tube out, and whenever you put the tube down on the ground, make sure there's no grit stuck in it when you put it back in the tyre, because it can cause a puncture. So that's the tube, put it in the grit-free area. Now we're going to take the tyre totally off the rim. Look at that, it falls off. And this is a tubeless rim, like notoriously tight. Both of those tight, just falls off, falls into the hands, like putty in the Durianrider's hands. And then we're going to go around here and check the rim tape, make sure there's no holes. Maybe come a little bit closer, Nick. We'll just focus on this rim here. We're going to check this rim tape's all good. There's no holes in the eyelets that can cause a puncture. There's no bits of sand in there that can cause a puncture. There's no sharp edges. So I'm going to say, Nick, your puncture was caused, well, that's not too bad, but sometimes it can be a sharp edge, that's okay. I'm going to say your puncture was caused because your tyre was caught, your tube was caught between the tyre bead and the rim hook. All right, so we're going to put this tyre on. We know this is a directional tyre, front and rear direction. Doesn't matter too much, but we'll do it for OCD's sake. Normally I put the model number near the valve. Just looks cool in Instagram photos. We'll flip around this side. Actually, rotor on the left, and so the direction tread's pointing that way. It doesn't matter if you do mix it up with the direction tread, but on a road bike it doesn't matter. But you might lose half a watt. So we put on one side, pops on pretty easy, and it's loose. It's in the channel. We're going to put our tube on and just clean the dirt and sand off there, because I don't get a puncture from that. We'll just blow it into the tyre, and then we're going to put it down here in the bottom so that's off the sand. And we're going to start at the valve, put it in, deep penetration. Dip it right in, it's ready for the deep penetration. There's had a good warm up, it's ready to rock. And we're going to start like a pizza, put it down here. Watch so you don't bend the rotor if you run disc brakes. And we're going to like put that tube in, start at the valve, hold it like that with one hand, and then we're just going to walk our way around like that. If you let the hand go, then it can pop out, so you hold it down like that, go around up here, and then you're going to start the other side, and that's going to go in like that. Then you got this changing a bicycle tyre is extremely feminine. It's going to just twig out in you, it's going to shit test you, the tube's going to poke out when you just got the last little bit. It's going to go, are you really a man enough to change the tube? No, you're not. I'm going to test your shit test. And you'll be throwing your wheel, you'll be calling people up, spending $20 to get your tyre and tube changed at the bike shop. Like, I can't do it, I can't handle this feminine wheel. This woman's just doing my head in. If you can't change your bike tyre, you ain't got no hope in heck of having a high SMV girl in your life who's going to be satisfied. This is one of your best teachers for women, man. The tight, tubeless rim with a handmade German. It's got to be from Germany, doesn't it? It has to be German. The hardest tyre to put on. You know, with Verdstein, Dutch. You know, you ever handled a Dutch woman before? I've had some dramas with Dutch and German women. That's fine. They're great teachers. Your problems become your gifts in life, alright? So we're going to put that on here, and this is tight. This ain't going on at all. I mean, I have to probably do 150 grams of debol a day to put this on. Right, that ain't going on at all. So we're gonna start in here. We're gonna start the valve. We're gonna push it up, make sure it's not here. And now this rim's really starting to shit test me. And now I'm on the camera, so if I don't get this done, I'll be immortalized as a beta boy from Norway on YouTube with 132 videos against durianrider. All right, so this is a shout out to the Chiang Mai village bike, where everyone had a ride, and there's nothing wrong with that. All right, women love it as well. So I'm gonna try and get it on here. And this is where you're just going for every inch. This is a tight setup, all right? So the tyre tricked us by getting it on, pushing that tube up in there, and then you're just gonna go around here, malleable. You know, you gotta protect the woman's feelings. Come on, baby, yeah, you can do it. You can do it, you got this. I believe in you, all right? So now the tyre's coming on. It's coming on bit by bit. Again, you gotta go the feelings, not the truth, all right? So you gotta feel this tyre on, all right? Feel it on, bit by bit, and it's going to, look at that, we've got more gain. Keep in the channel, in and out, in and out. Alright, there you go, baby. Alright, there we go, watch this, it's going to come on even more. There we go, look at that. Look at this, look at this. No effort, alright? No effort. The tyre is extremely feminine. The tubeless tyre in 2021, post Me Too movement, even more feminine than ever. You'll never ever struggle more to put a tyre on a rim as a cyclist in 2021 with the creation of these wide rims, tubeless ready tyres, tubeless ready rim. It is the hardest ever. 20 years ago, so easy to change a tyre. Now, super hard. So if you can't do that, you're going to struggle in life with your bikes and your women. So there you go. Now the big thing, which I think a lot of people don't do, is come real close. I'll put you, come over my shoulder so you've got the sun on it. Now this is where the puncture's going on. So you got this is your hook reed bead here. Actually, this is not even a hook bead, is it? Damn, it's not. Damn, Giant's changed it. Okay. So often the tube can get caught in between this rim here and the tyre bead, and then when you pump it up, push, it blows up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the valve, and we're going to look for any bits of tube that's sticking through. any bit of tube that's trying to slide into the DMs. All right, any tube that's trying to slide in your DMs, we're gonna massage it back out. We can't see any tube here, it looks pretty good. Okay, so we don't have any tube to get an example. That's one side good, we'll flip it over, start at the valve, finish at the valve. And if any part of this video doesn't make sense, just pause it, rewind it. Pause and rewind. And this is good to go. This is good to go. So the tube hasn't been sucked under, hasn't been caught under there and pinching there. That's okay. If it did, let's say the tube was poking through there, you just massage it. Yeah, you massage under, like if you get sucked by like an undercurrent at Bondi, get sucked right under there, and you're good to go. So you're good to suck like a tyre bar girl, and that's what you're doing. So there you go, that's the deal. Get a pump on here, and we'll get some air in this bad boy. And that is how you change any tyre. It's a feminine object, you can't use your force, you've got to coax it on there, you've got to work with the tyre's feelings. Always work with the woman's feelings, or suffer in life. And this bad boy, and I'll show another tip. Whenever you're using a track pump as well, always compress your valve, so like unscrew it like that, and give it make sure it goes. You break the seal like that, because sometimes that doesn't get stuck and air won't go in. So always break the seal before you pump it up. All right, pump away, dude. Hit it up. If this tyre blows, it's going to rupture my vein. Actually, I might put it away from my leg then. So there you go. Put 120 in it. 120? Normally run about 100, 120. Now here we go, start to pop around. That popping is just the bead seating into the rim. This actually is a hookless rim. Interesting giant doing that.
120.
Yeah, there we go. So what do you normally run it at? You don't have a track pump, do you?
110-ish.
Yeah, I think 80 for wet, 100 for dry, 120 for Strava, 150 on the way to your mum's house. Alright, so this is really interesting. This is the first time I've ever used. Remember I was making a joke earlier in the video about, you know, a hookless bead rim. Make sure you got good teeth and dental insurance. I was observing that this was starting to lift a little bit. And I was just watching, you know, I was like, because this rim's rated to 125 PSI. We put, was it 120 in there? So we put 120 in there, and that was starting to blow off the rim. That would have blown off the rim. So I'm going to say the max pressure, in my opinion, was got to be 80 PSI in one of these hookless rims. Do not run more than 120 in these. I don't think you'd really run on 100 in there, which is fine for training and cruising. But if you're going to be racing, I wouldn't be using these. I would not use a hookless bead, in my experience from just watching this now, I would not use a hookless bead road rim at pressures over 80 PSI. That's just my personal observation now. I remember hearing a Cycling Tips podcast talking about hookless zip rims, and I'm just thinking, why on earth are we doing hookless? Mountain bike, I can get it. Low pressures, 20 PSI, 30 PSI. Road, 120 PSI? Are you kidding me? On a skinny tyre? Are you kidding me? Bad idea. So that's just my personal opinion, and anyone from Giant or whoever can say otherwise, but that tyre almost blew off the rim. That's pretty crazy.